She's here for all of the questions, but we'll jump into our top story. Young Arabs around the world would choose to live in the UAE over anywhere else. So the results of the world-famous ASDA BCW Arab Youth Survey are in, and once again, the UAE comes out tops. The incredible news was shared by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai. Along with the survey, which affirmed that we are top spot. He said, we say that the UAE is everyone's country and everyone's home, and our experience will remain available to everyone, and our relations will remain positive with everyone. So the big news that came out of the survey was that 47% of Arab youth surveyed would actually choose to live in the UAE over anywhere else, followed by 19% choosing the US and 15% choosing Canada, which is pretty big.
Wow, so there were a number of positive. For example, despite the pandemic, ongoing conflicts and record economic decline, most Arab youth are optimistic. Their best days lie ahead of them. However, there are also obstacles. Now, the obstacles lead into youthsters in the UAE being concerned over the increasing cost of living. Now, here are some valuable data which we spoke to you about from the 200 million Arabs that were surveyed. And what they had to say about their future, because according to the 13th edition of the annual ASDAA BCW Arab Youth Survey, GCC youth are extremely concerned over the rising cost of living as they struggle to make ends meet due to the difficulty of securing jobs, accessing quality education, post the global economic crisis. But obviously, like Casey said, majority of Arab youth, which is 60% to be exact, remain overwhelmingly optimistic that their best days lie ahead of them. And nearly 48% believe that they will lead a better life than their parents.
Which is interesting. And although these encouraging findings, the fact does remain that the youth are struggling to meet expenses and have identified 3 strategies to boost job creation.
So number 1, tackling corruption and nepotism. Number 2, providing more information on the job opportunities available. And number 3, education reform.
And this comes from the youth. Also, however, it must be noted that the UAE was named as the model nation for the 10th consecutive year, as it's the top preferred country to live in, as we said. And this is a snapshot of the impressions of what the youth are feeling today. And I think it's very interesting to show that, yes, the UAE is the #1 country. However, there are still obstacles that many face, such as, of course, expenses, job opportunities, that type of thing.
I mean, it's great to see both the sides. Like, people are optimistic that things will get better. But right now, just the struggle of jobs, finding jobs, securing jobs, and the whole thing of just like rising expenses. So, I mean, the 3 key areas that they have even identified make so much sense. You know, just like the thing of battling corruption and nepotism, because in so many industries you see, like, these are the main reasons why other people don't get ahead. It's because people want to favor their own, their own contacts, own relatives. Like, that happens so much. Yeah.
As well as that, they spoke about gender rights and media consumption, foreign relations, immigration. For example, one thing that stuck out was young Arab women point to a fall in gender equality across the region. As well as media consumption. I think this one is interesting as well. Social media is by far the largest source of news among young Arabs. However, TV is more trusted. And that's so interesting, right? Because I think that we're all consuming news on our phone every single day. And yet, if we see it on the TV, we'll trust it more. Why is that? I think that's very interesting because we traditionally watched news on the TV growing up. And we never kind of thought about media bias when we were growing up. However, now that you're aware that it exists, and you have to be very sure of where you get your news sources, why do you trust the TV more than social media? I think wherever you're consuming your news, you need to be very aware of the source that it's coming from. So whether it's TV or the internet shouldn't make a difference, but I can see why traditionally that it does.
Yeah, I mean, you would think for TV and news channels, they have gatekeepers. So like anything that goes out gets approved beforehand, gets like, you know, thoroughly fact checked.
Same with everything though, if it's a proper news source.
Yeah, exactly. So that, I mean, like you said, it really depends on where you consume your news from. If you consume it from like meme pages, then that's on you. Getting false information. But I'm so surprised about the gender rights survey that shows Arab women point to a decrease of gender equality across board, because I would think it's the opposite. You know?
Well, it says here the number of young Arab women saying that they have the same rights as men has fallen across the region over 2020. And then if you go into, but please, you know, this is over what, 200 countries surveyed, right? So,
yeah. 200 million Arabs.
Well, it's just over the last 2 years. So in 2020, 25% of people said men had more rights than women.
Yeah.
In 2021, 40% of people say men have more rights than women.
41% say?
It jumps from 25 to 40%, which is just interesting.
Interesting.
You can get all of that on the ArabYouthSurvey.com. This is an annual survey they've been doing for 13 years. And His Highness was so proud that he tweeted the good news of that we are everyone's country for everyone to come to, which is incredible. All the news is there. Moving on.